Thank you. I'd now like to recognize Mr. Good.
Thank you, Chairman Owens. Again, thank you to all of our witnesses for your submitted written and expressed testimony here today. One of the top concerns I hear, and I think many of my colleagues hear from employers in our districts, is the inability to find workers with the right skills. Obviously, that's one of the reasons why we're here today. But in light of the Title 42 expiration today, that is throwing gasoline on the already raging fire that is the border invasion, I think since that affects everything, I think it's appropriate to ask how flooding the labor market, flooding the country with millions of unskilled, non-English speaking illegal aliens impacts the labor market. Would anyone say in our panel that this helps employers who are seeking more skilled labor? Somewhat rhetorical. Would anyone say that this helps increase wages for Americans? Would anyone say this helps employers? This is part of our jurisdiction, this committee. Would anyone say this helps employers provide better health care for their current workers? Would anyone say this helps enhance the education excellence for our K-12 children and the quality of teaching and learning for American children? You know, as we require every school to accommodate every illegal that's here and whatever is their native language. I would like to submit for the record, official record of this hearing, a document that I have from Federation for American Immigration Reform. And in my home state of Virginia, the Commonwealth of Virginia, it says we have an estimated already 419,000 illegal aliens residing in Virginia, 123,000 of which are students in our K-12 schools. The average cost to Virginians is $5,000 annually per illegal alien. Total of nearly $3 billion, $2.84 billion in costs, which costs the average household in Virginia right at about $900. Shifting gears to more specifically to what the purpose of this hearing is, Mr. Ferguson, how has this historically tight labor market created new opportunities to establish work-based learning partnerships with employers, and how could WIOA be updated to support more employer engagement?
So for us, to have the opportunity through the WIOA funding to help a business upskill their workforce and increase their productivity is just one measure of a way that we can help both the worker and the business make it through a tight labor market. Creating programs and showing companies how to build a workforce pipeline through work-based learning where we can provide some very entry-level short-term training. For instance, for a certified nursing assistant may take 4 to 6 weeks, and they can go right to work and then add on. We talked about phlebotomy certification earlier is another short-term training that we have done as an add-on, bolt-on skill that increases that individual's wage by $2 to $3 per hour. And it gives the hospital that many more phlebotomists that are able to work. From there, we have individuals going on to licensed practical nursing. So businesses are figuring out, with our help, how to build their pipeline and build their workforce internally.
Thank you for being part of the solution with your career centers. By the way, the private solution, that is always better than government solutions. What have you found that works best in developing partnerships between state and local workforce boards and employers, and then what are some of the challenges that prevent employers from collaborating with the public workforce system?
So for us, the biggest key is being active members in our business community organizations, our industry associations, such as the First Coast Manufacturers Association. We have staff that are in the workforce, particular subcommittees that those industry associations have. Understanding our economic development targeted industries, knowing your business community is the key for us to invest the dollars that we do have in areas that are growing. So that if a worker may not work for company A, but they're in the distribution and logistics industry within our area, which is very strong, we know we can get them to company B or company C.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Palash, one last question for you. If the Department of Labor was less involved in workforce development, leaving employers to work on it, what do you think that would do for our economy?
I think that's the key is the Department of Labor's responsibility is to foster an environment where that happens, where employers are working with their local workforce boards, as Bruce has described, working with the other workforce partners to find solutions that are best for them in that part of the state or that part of the country, because folks here in DC, myself included, don't necessarily know what Central Texas needs versus, Northern California. And it's much best left up to them. But the Department of Labor does have a role, and it's fostering that type of environment and not being the big bad cops all the time. It's working with them so that the locals, as Bruce has done, take advantage of the flexibilities that exist. So we need to make sure they're aware of that and encourage them to do that.
Well said. We could apply that to a lot of government, that should just facilitate the private sector to thrive and succeed. So thank you for succinctly answering that. Now I yield back, Mr. Chairman.